Hello, traders. How are you doing? How are you doing today? It was supposed to be no life after Brexit, right? But it happens that life continues. Hello, everybody, broadcasting from Mexico City. Here is 8 a.m. in the morning, 13 hours GMT time. We are beginning this webinar sharp, that exact time. And, well, my name is Alberto Alvarado, and this is going to be our second special Brexit edition. I'm going to explain you why in some minutes. But well, welcome to my webinar, WoW Trades. WoW stands for week over week trades. For the ones that are following this series, this is the third or fourth webinar, I'm not sure, that binary.com has allowed me to broadcast and approach you the kind of information that I use to help you to develop your own trading style. So, shall we start? Here we go. Well, a little bit about me. My name again is Alberto Alvarado, broadcasting from Mexico City. I started trading in 2005, just to lose all my money after 1 month of starting trading. That motivated me and made me understand that trading was not an easy task and an easy thing. So I decided to commit 100% to trading. 2007, I started harvesting the results of my dedication and commitment and started grabbing my first profits just to see all of them evaporate in the 2008 crisis. After that, I realized that I had to improve my approach. And in my case, I decided to dare to include subjective and intuitional aspects to trading. And it happened that it worked for me. So hopefully, when you see these webinars, this approach that I have could help you to find inspiration, to get your very own personal way to trade and understand the markets. As you can see here in the presentation, I don't use any fancy indicator or custom indicator. I simply use the basic ones, MACD, stochastics, RSI, trend lines, things that you can get for free. Because what makes the difference is how you use all these fundamental and technical things, adding them up to your edge. That is the most important thing for you to become a profitable trader. In a few words, an edge is something that you're already good at. And you need to find a way to apply that into trading. And that, my friends, is very difficult. That is why trading is something that takes time. Well, again, as I say, always say here, the value-added services are only available on outcry demand. In any case, that the traders that come and visit in my week-over-week webinars decide to ask for more services, I would be more than glad to offer them to the people that could be interested in those. Today's agenda is going to be very close to the one that we had last week. I called it Brexit Special Edition number 2 because actually the dust after Brexit hasn't settled down. So opening trades and trying to find trading opportunities at this moment is way riskier than the average. So as a responsible approach, I won't mislead anybody to say that now is a safe one to open such trades. Second, well, as you can see, price action opportunities are postponed till next week. The live trades are going to be postponed for next week. Although I have two trading opportunities for the ones that understand that these are are riskier than the average. I'm going to explain those and during the webinar. Well, the fourth point is the review or adjustment of the previous week's trades. Remember that we have opened a dollar versus Canadian dollar trade since 2 weeks ago. That trade is going to expire next Friday. That trade after Brexit just did what we expected to do, to stall at the 1.3 area where we opened the trade, and now again we are in profit there. We're going to review that and explain overall why we decided to keep that open and to keeping that trade open till next week. And at the end, questions and answers. Feel free to drop your questions and answers at the moment you have them. So when we get to that point, we can have an idea of what you're interested in me to answer you. Well, here, and I would like to extend I would like to excuse myself beforehand because I know that this euro, pro-euro, or anti-euro stirs up a lot of emotions. But well, as you know, we as traders, we need to have a personal opinion on things, on events, so we can then design strategies and tactics in order to profit from them if that is possible. Okay, so anything that I say regarding to the Brexit is not personal, and hopefully if you don't agree with my ideas, you are welcome, but please don't take it personal. This is only for trading purposes. Okay. Well, here the only fundamental highlights the same one as last week. That is this Brexit. No matter how you look at it, there is 10,000 miles away the importance of any news, no matter how better than expected it was this last week. The one that is still ruling the whole price action in the whole world, in the whole financial world, is still Brexit. Okay, so here is only a very funny, if you want to see it that way, funny picture about Brexit. As you can know, a lot of the participants, a lot of European citizens, some of them believe that having a Brexit is a disgrace, that is going to collapse everything. Some people believe that's the best thing that could happen to the UK or even to the European Union. So this is all of a matter of personal opinions, but there are a lot of aspects in those subjective opinions that we have to consider when we open trades. Because again, we need to have a personal opinion on what a Brexit will really mean for the markets in order to know what we're doing. Since this is no charted territories and what is called black swan event, that means that our events so scarce that you can count them once in 50 years, so, or something like that. So yeah, Brexit is something that it's a paramount in history. So we will see how the consequences will be. In my opinion, this is going to be good for the UK. This is my personal opinion, but we shall see what happens. Well, here is an image. It's obvious that the person that drew this is pro-Brexit, of course, because it's drawing the EU this boat heading to disaster, and the UK saving themselves, simply going out of the eurozone. So, well, we will continue having this kind of opposite opinions until we see the first results. And just a comment that I comment to other fellow traders is that Brexit is only an event. By itself, it doesn't mean anything. What will make the UK to profit, to succeed or not, is the way that they model and profit from the arising opportunities that Brexit will bring to the UK. Of course, if the UK messes it up, the UK won't succeed. But in any case of a Brexit, that they know how to model the emerging opportunities of a Brexit, of course they will do well. If crises have shown us something, is that no matter how hard a crisis is, you will always have tons of opportunities to profit from, no matter how hard and red a crisis is. So since we are still in uncharted territory, we are not, me myself, I wouldn't try to lead somebody to open a trade now. It's still too risky, you know. We still have huge gaps not being fulfilled, and we're going to review that in the next step. For the ones that have been following the webinars lately, do you remember that we have a United States dollar versus the loonie trade, a short one? Reviewing quickly, here this big wick is where we open the trade. It is very close to the psychological level of the 1.3. Why we did that? Because 1 week before is this one, we have a very good employment change data for the Canadian economy. As you can see, the market started going up, and this makes sense, even though it was a good thing for the Canadian economy, that is reflecting indirectly that the American economy is in good health, because a lot of why the labor market in the Canadian economy is recovering is because the United States is recovering. So, well, firstly, after having that very good data of employment change in the Canadian economy, we had the price going up. And here, what we anticipated, for the ones that are interested, you can go to the binary.com YouTube channel and look for my previous webinars and to see exactly what I am talking about. What we decided to open here a short trade because we had at that moment here a resistance, a double resistance, this one and this one. But this one, the highest point was here. So what I was expecting is that a price managed to retrace, to make a breakout of that trend line. But since we were facing a psychological level and this secondary trend line that could be indicating us a kind of a stop loss zone, we decided to open a short trade there. As you can see, almost immediately, it went in our favor. Before and the latest webinar, what I commented is that we had two choices. To close that trade that was before Brexit at 35% in profit of the overall possible profit of that trade, I commented that in my opinion, I was going to keep that trade open. That closing it was a good idea for the ones that wanted to run less risks, but in my opinion, it was still a good idea to keep it open. Why? I was wishing a Brexit to happen, but apparently the Brexit was defined in the latest hours of that voting. Most part of people were sure that a Brexit shouldn't happen, and even if it happened, my idea was that it was not going to be the end of the world, that all the news in the media was exaggerating that fact, and that the worst case scenario for this trade was exactly doing what it did, that it was hitting this 1.3 psychological resistance, and then with time, the market should go in our favor again. And this is what happened. If you decided to close the trade, you should have closed it here more or less at 35% of the maximum profit of that short trade in binary.com. Then we had this tremendous volatility to the upside when the Brexit happened. Then we even had a gap to the upside after that weekend, but then the price just retested this, barely touched this stop loss zone, meaning when I say stop loss zone is there are two kind of trades. The ones that if you're trading in the margin trading account that you need to consider as a hard stop. But the fabulous thing of trading with binary.com is that you are not in the need of using a hard stop. We open a trade, a short trade here, it went in our favor, retraced, started going in our favor again. And you need to know what price you should be looking at. That could start telling you that maybe that short trade is wrong and then adapt it. You could close it with this sell at market option that binary.com offers you, or that you can open other trades to hedge if that position is indicating you that it's going to reverse completely. Okay. So, well, at this moment, what we had is the price retesting this area, barely touching that stop loss zone. So at that moment, I was watching during hours this trade, the intraday charts, to detect if we were in fact facing a reversal. My conclusion is that we are not facing any reversal and that the markets are gradually settling down all this Brexit dust, and that the markets will continue doing and continue going in the trend before Brexit. Why? Because let's face it, Brexit will happen only in 2 years. So during these 2 years, things are going to be the same. So economically, the impact should be diluted through 2 years. So this volatility is only circumstantial. This Brexit thing didn't change the amazing performance of the Canadian economy. So the most likely thing is that we will continue seeing during the next months a bearish movement in this United States dollar versus Canadian dollar trade. But well, we shall see what happens with time. But what we are interested now is that the trade that we open, that is going to be closed next Friday, is in profit again, while being maybe 2 days against us. So that's a very good trade. That was because we commented that trade here, that the circumstances that surrounded that trade were really outstanding. In my opinion, for the major forex pairs, we haven't had such kind of opportunity during this year in any major forex pair. So well, hopefully somebody here profited from that and stick to keeping this trade open. In my opinion, this is going to be closed next week at 100% of profits. Let's go to the live analysis. Okay. Here's what I was talking about. Here is the area where we should have closed the trade at 35%. If you decide to close at that moment, it was okay. It was playing it safe. For the very circumstances that we were facing at that moment, I decided to keep it open. Then we had this huge movement to the upside derived from Brexit. Then the market did this thing again and started stabilizing. This is a 1-hour chart. And then now the market started going down. As you can see, here we have a breakout of an ascending triangle in the 1-hour chart. We have a very 45 degrees to the downside steep in this Bollinger Band. We're having it again, the 1-hour MACD below zero line. So this is indicating me that in fact the psychological 1.3 level did its job correctly, supported all this volatility. And it makes sense. Having Brexit is not having something change in the next 2 months. It's in the next 2 years. So there is no reason to rush into things and start buying dollars and selling everything. Besides, the latest events in the UK started showing up that the political instability in the UK after Brexit, having Scotland wanting to have another referendum to be independent, etc., etc. Apparently, all those things are starting to settle down politically. And if something happens, it's going to happen gradually. That is why things are coming back to normal. These catastrophists in the news media, well, they got it wrong. We got it, most of us got it wrong in Brexit, but even in that scenario, that was the real cause of this volatility. That people expected a no Brexit, not because of Brexit is the end of the world. So the volatility is starting to settle down, and the things are going to come back to normal gradually. We will see how the UK starts moving among the new opportunities of Brexit brings, and that will in fact change the markets, but not worldwide. So you can expect that the more time it passes, the things will settle down. I expect that this is going to be the last week we have this kind of uncertainty of opening new trades. And in fact, I said that this was my way to trade the Brexit, because I was not looking for opening a trade one day before Brexit or even 1 week after. So this is the way I profited from Brexit. And as you can see, we made some a good decision here, opening at the right price with the right reasons, fundamentally biased. That is why this trade is resisting to continue going upside. Okay. So well, you can see here, I'm going to draw a line where the trade was open was 130.25 or something. Okay. Here is the line where we opened the trade at this stage. As you can see, we had the market going against us for some hours and then immediately going the direction we predicted. We had Brexit spike stabilizing just in this zone. As you can see here, is like a mid zone, and then the market starting to going down. Let's go to the 4-hour chart just to check out. Look at the MACD in the 4-hour chart. This is starting to cross to the downside. So this is another confirmation that apparently this trade is going to be closed next Friday in profit. Next Friday of the next week in profits. Let me well, here I have a comment. Here it says, oh my, Nuno Silva. Well, we'll read that in the questions and answer. So this is how our trade is doing now. We are in profit there again. I wanted to show you. I'm going to stop sharing this. Let me show you the exact trade. Just give me a second. So you have the certainty that I am not just making up all this information. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen again. Here it is, as you can see. Here we have the trade. We open United States dollar, Canadian dollar. That is going to expire the 8th day of July. As you can see, we have it in profit. The purchase price was this, and the profit at this moment is higher. Here is an image that will explain exactly how this trade looked. The entry spot was 130.25.1, and our spot now is 129.59. So we are, again, as you can see, here is the when we opened the trade, it went immediately against us, and then it continued going down in our favor. Volatility stalled at this resistance. This resistance was good enough to make the price go down again. Fundamentally biased, and this is why I opened this trade, because it requires a lot that a market could go against the fundamental bias. In my opinion, the Canadian economy is going to improve even more during the future. And that is why this trade was open within a good time span that could allow Brexit volatility to dilute and to profit from that fundamental move. So as you can see, at this moment we decided to close this trade at market. We should be doing 11% of the maximum profit of this trade. Of course, I'm not closing it now because in my analysis, as I explained, what I expect is that this trade continues going down. Sorry. I'm not recommending to open anything at this moment. I want to clarify that. But for the ones that are eager to open something, and again, I'm not saying that this is a safe one. No trade is a safe one. With this kind of volatility, you could have a sudden movement against of 200 pips, etc. But for the ones that decide or want to profit from something, maybe opening a long trade in the cable, in the British pound versus the United States dollar, could be a good thing. I'm not opening it now because I don't think that such a trade gathers the minimum acceptable requirements of safety. But well, you can, since opening trades in binary.com, you can actually know exactly how much you can lose no matter what. For the ones that are more risk on, maybe opening a bullish trade here. Why? Because in my opinion, and I'm going to show you this monthly trade. This is the monthly trade of the cable. This support that is being tested, I'm going to draw it. It's a multi-decade support because we have one reference of that support in 2008. The other one, I believe, is in 2002. And the other one, the latest time we saw this price is in 1985. But during the last decade, this support was good enough. So what I am expecting is that this support could be a good one to support this bearish volatility after Brexit. But the thing is that we certainly don't have a very good time frame to trade it, because maybe the good way to trade it is in the next six months. So it's really hard to track a trade of such nature. So for the ones that are interested, we are testing apparently correctly and firmly. This multi-decade support is doing its job excellently. So well, again, I'm not opening it, but for the ones that are looking maybe what to open, yes, this is a multi-decade support. So you know what it says. You buy at support and sell at resistances. You don't sell at supports. So, well, there you are. For last, and this is a weekly chart of the euro pound. For the ones that remember, we closed to last week or the week before that a bullish trade on euro GBP. But my overall outlook on euro pound is to the downside, because I believe that after Brexit, in fact, the UK will outperform mainland Europe. And as you can see, when you open a weekly chart in euro pound, you can see a clear downtrend. And look at this. People said that this is going to be the end of the world. But actually, the price is retesting this resistance that comes from 2011, and it's doing its job. So yeah, you know what I said. You short at resistances. So for the ones that are maybe looking for longer term trades, this could be a good idea. You need to evaluate that. You need to find your own risks, your own time parameters, etc. But as you can see, this was not the end of the world. Actually, this is making and is helping for this trend to continue going down. So I believe that that's going to be everything for analysis for today. We're keeping that United States dollar, Canadian dollar open to the downside. I honestly don't believe that we're going to see any panic anymore this next weeks, and we shall see what happens. So yeah, some questions and answers. I believe I have a question, a comment from Nuno Silva. It says it's more the opposite. As an example, Vodafone, along a lot of companies, 1 in 5 wants to leave UK. If not only that, if they call for Article 50, after leaving, they will need to get in negotiations with each EU country. As also with EU, a huge online commerce to Europe is via UK. If leave that commerce will go to other country, a lot of customers' info that are in cloud storages that belong in EU citizens, they can't be kept at UK. They will need to move data centers to other countries, maybe Ireland with profit, with this nonsense. This is my opinion. Well, Nuno Silva, yes, actually, you will find a lot of people that holds Brexit was a bad decision. Some others, like me, sustain that this is a good decision in the long term. Of course, these things you're saying are true, and this is going to pay. The UK will need to pay a short-term price for this movement. This is not going to be good either for the EU or the UK in the short term. But in the longer term, I honestly believe that the UK has more chances because the EU uh, is having a lot of problems dealing with some solutions since the 2008 crisis. So that is, in my opinion, it's not going to be reflected correctly. That is why my overall outlook in euro pound is bearish. That means that the euro should go down in perspective of the pound. But time is going to be the only one that says that. I remember some days ago Alan Greenspan saying that the European institution was really endangered. It's very strange to see somebody being that outspoken on the EU project, but I must say I agree with that. But not because it's not a good idea, the Eurozone. Of course, that's not the case. But maybe the people that are applying and making it happen, the politicians or European Parliament, whatever, they are really not capitalizing the best way to apply that. So yes, short term, UK is going to be affected, of course. EU also. But after maybe 6 months, what I could believe is that we will see clearly that the UK will start moving and knowing how to figure out all these problems in their favor. But time will see. The only time is the only thing that will let us know who got it right and who got it wrong. So I believe Adnan Silva says there are already new terms. Regret EU turn. Well, yes, that could happen, but I don't know how the EU will handle that. They are pushing for the UK just to call Article 50 as soon as possible. So we shall see what happens. But in the meanwhile, we are traders and we have tons of opportunities to profit from this. Even if we keep having uncertainty, there are tons of opportunities for us traders to profit from that. Thanks for your comments, Nuno Silva, and I believe this is the end of the webinar. Thanks, Nuno, for commenting and for sharing your opinions here. Remember, next time to tune my webinar again, you will receive an email as always letting you know that day the webinar is going to happen. So I expect you next week. Trade safe, be safe, and bye-bye.